everyone, and welcome to the Illuminary Library. This is the very first episode in what will hopefully be many, and it is our WDWNT Lorcana podcast. I am your host, Alicia, and this is my co-host, Ben. I did that the wrong way. There we go.
yeah, don't worry, it's fine. Everybody does that. Yep. Here, let me see. You're over there. Yeah, I got it. All right.
Yeah, good job. So we love Lorcana. We were at the Gen Con release. Ben was on the demo team. We're going to talk about all of that. But just to give you a little bit of background of who we are, I've been at the company for 6 or 7 years at this point. Done lots of podcasts and shows and stuff, so hopefully you've seen me around. And I love card games. I love board games. I love RPGs. So for me, Lorcana was kind of an instant buy where I was like, collectible card game, Disney products, sign me up. What about you, Ben?
So I've been with WDWNT on and off for about 9 years at this point, if I remember right.
Wow.
Like back with WDWNT the magazine.
Right.
was my first thing. So various shows here and there. Did a run on Park Center as the host. And it's been quiet for me for a little while now, but I'm hoping to get back into things a little bit more. See me being here. In terms of card game stuff, I've been a fan of Magic the Gathering since Return to Ravnica came out about 9 or 10 years ago. I've been judging for quite a while, so I'm a level 2 judge for that, which for the folks unfamiliar is like the folks that kind of like move around a bit more, and like I actually get to like travel around the country a bit for events. Like I'm actually going to work an event in North Carolina for charity, The Gathering. Go check it out. It's going to be a fun time.
That's awesome. And you came and visited me. I mean, you didn't visit me, but like we got to visit, so that was cool.
Yeah, that was cool. I got to see you in Minneapolis. Yeah, I've done a whole bunch of things. So yeah, got to visit you out there in Minneapolis for an event. I've done a whole bunch of stuff all over the place. I did Las Vegas in 2017, which I believe was the year they set the record for the world's largest non-poker card tournament.
And it was Magic the Gathering.
Yeah, like so 10,000 people at this event. It was massive.
Wow.
So I've got a lot of experience from that side. As for other games, somewhat less so. Like I kind of dove into that, and that was my one thing. I do play some other board games, some RPGs here and there. Y'all probably saw me helping out with the RPG on here.
Oh yeah, that's right. Hey, I did one of those.
Yeah.
I see a thing on here. That's right. I forgot about that. Ooh, time flies.
Right?
Yeah, it's a construct these days. So yeah, I think, and obviously we're Disney fans if we've worked here as long as we have. So yeah, like I remember like the first Lorcana announcement, and then like following through D23, like it was just like, when will it be my turn? And then at Gen Con, we finally got it to happen. But for people who might just be watching, because this is a WWNT show, or maybe want to get into Lorcana but don't totally know what it is, do you want to go ahead and explain? You have a really great canned spiel that is way better than anything that I could ever write, so I feel like you can handle that.
Yeah, sure. So at Gen Con, which was just came out, I was on the Learn to Play team. They gave us sweet shirts for
Beautiful
this.
Shirts.
Like I really enjoy that we got to keep these.
Yeah.
So the story of Lorcana is that you are an Illuminary, which is a magical being that uses magic ink to summon glimmers of famous Disney characters to help you go on a quest. Your quest is to gain 20 pieces of lore before your opponent does. You use those characters that you make with that ink to gain you those pieces of lore. And that's basically like the core conceit of the game. There are very similar aspects to a lot of other card games out there. I've heard people be like, it's got the mana system from Hearthstone combined with Magic's. If you played the WoW TCG, a lot of people I heard say, oh, it's just that.
Wow, okay.
It has the damage permanency that Pokemon does with the ability to heal the damage off. It's got a whole mash of a bunch of different games, but at the same time, it's something that if you've never played any of the things that I've just talked about, it's really simple and straightforward to pick up. Like
Absolutely.
I was demoing this for folks at Gen Con, like I said, and I had one group that I really remember that was a mom and I believe her approximately 8-year-old son came in and sat down, and I taught them how to play. And they were often playing and enjoying it within like 10 minutes. And
Oh.
I loved getting to see mom beat the pants off her son. It was phenomenal. It's like he's having an absolute blast as being like,
Yeah.
oh, I got your thing, like the whole way through, and
Yeah.
mom's just like creaming him, and I was just like, you go, this is great.
That is awesome. Well, and it's fun too, right? For the different ages, where it's like the little kid might be like, "I'm playing Ariel because Ariel's my favorite princess," and the mom was like, "And I destroy you." Like,
Yeah.
there's like a little bit of something for everyone, and then obviously, the Disney collectors are going to come out of the woodworks. We've already seen it kind of start to happen, where they're like, "I just want the cards."
Oh yeah,
Because I mean, to be fair, the cards are beautiful.
they really
Um,
are.
yeah, they're stunning. Like if you haven't seen them, I recommend going and looking for like a foil or the Enchanted, which is like a full
The
art
full
kind of
arts,
foil
yeah.
rarity. Yeah, like everyone who worked on this game, hats off to them because it's beautiful. And I can already like I know we've seen the D23 cards go for like thousands of dollars, and I'm pretty sure like some stuff from Gen Con has been going for that.
Oh
So
yeah. That
yeah, good luck.
it's come back down now, thankfully. But for
Yeah.
a hot second, the promo card was going on eBay for $1,400.
Which is insane because I have like four of them.
Right.
Like, and
Yeah,
I
that's the
have
thing.
no
Yeah.
want to sell them. Those are mine.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
It's like
I sleeved them instantly, and that was it.
we had to in some cases literally fight hard in order to get those.
Yeah. So let's talk about that, shall
Yeah.
we? Let's chat. So, Gen Con was what was it? It started August 2nd, technically, which is Wednesday. There aren't
Right.
really a ton of events that happen on Wednesday. I know you went in to learn. I had a media event that day. I think there
Yeah.
are like some small events, but not that many.
If I'm not
Things
mistaken,
really
the
kick.
entirety of Wednesday is just for media folks. Like
It
at
might
least the
be.
the website billed it as such. Like Wednesday is media day.
Oh.
Come talk to people if you have media passes. We do not have the con set up,
Mhm.
but like you can just come and go in the building and use the spaces, kind of a thing.
Sure, that makes sense. So then stuff really kicks off on the 3rd and it wraps up on Sunday, which was the 6th.
Hmm.
So we were there from Wednesday to Sunday. And I want to give a really big shout out to I think it's the Lorcana HQ Discord. Everyone on there is super nice, and everyone, on there is chatting. They're trying to talk about, what the plan is for Thursday, because that's when product is being sold. So everyone's like, we're going to the Ravensburger booth.
Right.
Ravensburger. But I think
Ravensburger,
that's
yeah.
how you Ravensburger. Thank you. Sorry if you guys ever watched this. Um, we're learning. I mean, we made the name Illuminary Library. You can't really fault us here. We can't say things. It's fine.
We
Um,
still have yet to ruin saying the Illuminary Library. I think we've gotten it right
hey,
every time so far. So
yay! It'll happen. Don't worry. The bar is low. um, but so on Wednesday night, I remember walking by Hall H, I believe it was, and there's like multiple halls within the vendor hall, and they all kind of spit you out into different parts of like where vendors are selling. So Hall H and I think it was like Hall F or something were the closest to the booth where product was being sold because it was like a very large pavilion.
that sounds
Um,
right.
yeah. And so I remember walking by on Wednesday night when I was walking back to my hotel room, and there was a line of people already set up. And they had like camp chairs, and they had like stanchions already set up in there within the stanchions. And I remember looking on Discord later, and I was just like, y'all are wild. And they were asked to politely leave, but you would be able to come back at 6 o'clock in the morning,
Yep.
which is when the convention center opened. The vendor hall opens at 10 a.m. So I was, my partner were up at 5 a.m. We walked downstairs, and there was like a group of already, I'm gonna say like 200 people waiting outside the convention center.
Yeah, I
Some
think
of
that's
them
about
being
right.
up, yeah, like 2 or 3 o'clock in the morning. Some of them got down there. So the doors to the convention center opened at 5:50, so 10 minutes early. And everyone walked like happy, normal Disney fans, which made me. I thought they did. From what I saw, they did good. Maybe some
Yes.
people were running, but I observed only good people. It was like walking down the gates of Main Street. Everyone was just happy and awake. Um,
It was 90% speed walking. Yes.
okay, yes, that's fair. They were trying to rope drop, right? Like that's what
Yes.
was happening.
Very clearly, yeah.
You gotta get to Flight of Passage. The park just opened. You zoom.
I do not want to get kicked out. Yes.
Exactly. Yeah. Um, so then they had the stanchions already set up, so people just kind of filed in just like a regular Disney queue. You just file in line throughout the morning. There were even Gen Con employees who were coming out and kind of fixing and adjusting the line, creating more switchbacks. That way it could give other people room. Because other people want to go in the convention hall at 10. It's not just us crazy Disney nerds. There were other games that were releasing that other people needed to get into at 10. So we have a couple of videos of this that I want to pull up. And I know that you have them because we did good on this. So I believe there was one from 7 a.m., I think it's 7 a.m.
I've got the 6 a.m. and the 7 a.m.
Let's do the 6 a.m.
Okay.
And that'll kind of show just like the start of the line. So it was very early in the morning, just like there was, a decent amount of people, everyone just waiting in line, kind of happy, quiet. The other people in the corner, I believe, were probably for another game. But yeah,
I'm somewhere in there, up and to the left.
And Lucas, I know, is in there too. And then there's my significant other at the end of the line because we were a little late getting into line, but it's fine.
It's fine.
There's a guy in the Goofy hat, by the way, who I absolutely love, and I referred to him the entire day as Goofy Hat Guy. And I found him multiple times throughout the day, and that was how I based where I was in Goofy Hat Man.
Nice.
So whoever that was, thank you. And so then let's show this 7 a.m. video so we can kind of see that the line has grown a little bit. They've kind of adjusted some switchbacks. We were now like within a queue. You could see from the other video we weren't, and then they kind of came out and added more stanchions just to create like a little bit more like of a nice line. And that line stretches almost all the way down the convention center, and then it's 7 o'clock in the morning.
And I would like to bring it up because it's going to be important later. That is Gen Con employees that brought the stanchions out, right? Okay.
Yes. Yeah. Absolutely, 100%. They were out there facilitating the line. Not that there was really much to facilitate. I know I was just sitting there on my laptop. Everyone was just kind of quiet. There were some people playing board games on the floor. It was a very quiet, friendly atmosphere. It was just a lot of excitement for the game.
Yeah. I know I definitely watched somebody teach someone else how to play with the proxies that they brought.
There you go.
Just chilling there.
I mean, there's not that much to do between 6 and 10 a.m. Or so we thought. We
Uh-huh.
thought it would be a nice, quiet experience. And then at 8:50 in the morning, a Gen Con employee, I don't know his name. If you want to search online, you can find Blue Shirt Guy.
Have we confirmed the Blue Shirt Guy was an employee? Because I had heard rumors that he was not.
Oh, he was a Gen Con employee.
Okay, all right.
Yes. Where the direction from the order that happened came from, we don't know. But anyway, he came out at 8:50 in the morning, and he said Gen Con doesn't do pre-ordered lines. This is a fan line, quote unquote. Literally, actually, that's a direct quote. Like he said, this is not a fan line. And they got rid of all the stanchions and created like a mob, essentially. There was just nothing but I was surrounded by people instantly. People who were behind me are now in front of me. People who are walking up are getting in the front of the line. People are rightfully upset. People have been waiting for 2 o'clock in the morning. They got in line. They assumed that they were guaranteed product. Now it's just like a mad rush. So from 8:50 to 10 o'clock in the morning, it's just people are hurling insults at the Gen Con employees. People are nervous. People are upset. And also, like, even at that moment, it was a very tense crowd, like, physically. Like, I was kind of smushed into people.
Yes.
I don't know. Yeah. Like, it was hot. It was sweaty. You were now best friends with, like, 80,000 other people.
Oh, yeah. As Rizzo would put it, we're doing tests on deodorant strength. Yeah.
Yes, absolutely. And so then they decided to open the vendor hall doors at, I think it was like 9:50, so it was 10 minutes early. They did a whole spiel that was like, please don't run, please walk. If you don't, we'll take your badge or whatever.
Yeah, about that.
It didn't matter. It didn't matter. So we have a video of my perspective in the crowd. If we want to go ahead and play that. So I was shooting vertical, and like I wasn't really in control of my body as much as I was like being pushed forward.
Yep.
This poor guy, I was kind of like riding his backpack for a little bit. My significant other and I like end up getting like pulled apart from each other. His feet were like lifted off of the ground at one point. He was just kind of shoved through doors. You had to kind of make peace that you were not going to stay with your group at this point.
Oh yeah, there were no groups.
No. And I want to bring attention to the fact that, so two of our coworkers, Lucas and Allison, were here as well. And Allison actually ended up getting injured during this. She was shoved into two doors, and the wind got knocked out of the poor girl, and then her glasses fell off. And she was like basically trampled trying to get them back, and that happened twice. She had to make an incident report. I know that she was number 3 of the day to make an incident report. Yeah. There was reports that a gentleman in a wheelchair got knocked over and no one helped him back up. It was a dangerous situation. It really was. I was like crushed from every angle. What happened to you?
Yeah, so I was a little further up in this, and I was like, unfortunately / fortunately, I had all of my luggage with me. Because I was in the middle of switching hotels because I didn't know I was going to be doing the Learn to Play for Lorcana until after I had already booked a room for like me and the folks that I was staying with. So I was planning on getting in on Thursday, so we only did hotel like Thursday night through the rest of the con. So I got in early and went to a hotel off on my own. I had this giant duffel bag with me, a giant rolling bag. So when we were in that mass funneling through the doors, I was holding that in front of me, just kind of carrying it.
You were like a body blocker.
I had a shield, man, and what was great was that this was like right up against my body, and it was off the ground, so the area under my feet was always clear. It was impossible for somebody to start like tripping me or getting underfoot or anything like that because I had this giant thing blocking.
Right.
So, I wouldn't recommend doing this again, but if I was going to do it again, I would bring that bag.
Yeah, that's fair. So what happened to you once, the crowds calmed down? Because like some people did make it to the booth, and I believe they were buying product. But after that, it became mania of like lines and stuff. So I want to know what happened to your line.
So what happened was while we were in that stanchion queue, the mouth of that queue, the exit towards the doors, were clearly pointing at one set of doors, which, based on the event map, was also the closest doors to the Ravensburger booth, which it makes sense. So everybody thought that was going to be the one way in. At some point in time during the whole "this is not a line" process, we ended up discovering that they were going to open all the doors at the same time. And so a sect of people went to this other set of doors that was close, but not quite as close to the Ravensburger booth, kind of approaching it from the other side. Like if it was on the other side of a physical wall, so you could go around it either way.
Right.
So I was going through the door that was the closest door. There was a group of people going through the other door that was nearby. Turns out, for reasons that I still don't fully understand, the folks who went through what I'm going to call the wrong door were the ones that were treated as being in line. So this mass of people who got here at 5, 6 in the morning, some of them 2 in the morning, been here waiting the entire time, funneled through these doors, smushed and crushed and crowd everything, get to the other side of it, to be told by a Ravensburger booth employee that we are not in line and that the line is over there.
Yeah.
Which we go out and around and follow this out, and it is back into the hallway going out to the doors.
Probably past the doors, honestly, at that point.
It had not been past the doors yet. It was out of the hall, but it was not out of the convention center building.
Yeah. It was was so long. Everything was handled
Yeah.
so poorly. There was no communication. It was mass chaos, and like people were understandably really frustrated and mad. Also, they had been up, however early in the morning, so to have to go through all of this is emotionally, taxing and stressful too.
Mm-hmm.
Like to think that you are, number 50 in line, and then to be like, oh, go to the back of the line. That's a really hard thing to hear when you're really tired and have been up all night and are
Yep.
really excited about something. Like that's not okay to do to people.
Yeah. Like
So
I had been here since like 5:30.
yeah,
I had to be on shift later that day at like 1:30
yeah,
to do learn to play for Lorcana.
yeah,
So when I saw this line at 10:30, 10:45 that was out the door and moving glacially slow, I
hmm
had to look at it and just go, I can't do this anymore. Like
yeah,
I didn't get anything on Thursday.
right,
I got
yeah,
there at 5 in the morning, was one of the first 200-ish people there, and walked away empty-handed, even though they
yeah,
had more than enough product to cover it.
right, yeah.
And that's
I mean,
another thing that I want to bring up that I don't think many people have.
yeah,
There was not much communication from Ravensburger about how much product they actually had per day. They said they
right.
were
We
going to
knew
try
that there
and
were
space
daily
it out.
allocations.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, we knew there was daily allocations, but they never released those numbers. So then
hmm
people were like really freaking out. Um,
I
and it
think if
ended
they
up
had given
being
us the
fine.
numbers, yeah, it was a huge number, honestly. Like I heard stories of people
hmm
on Friday who walked up, like got in line at 1 p.m., were out of line at 1:15, and had a box.
Yeah, yeah.
Like the I think that if Ravensburger had accurately communicated how much product they had per day, the lines
hmm
would have been both shorter and less insane. Because
Right, yeah, there
everybody
wouldn't
would
have
have
been
looked
a
at this line and been like,
hysteria.
okay, there's a million people here, but they said they had 2 million boxes. I mean, those are inaccurate
Right,
numbers, but like
yeah,
ballparking, it's like, okay, they've got enough that they can handle this. And if they can't handle this all today, they've got a system in place to make sure you don't buy twice. Well, I'll just get it tomorrow.
right,
It's fine. I'm not going to worry about it.
yeah,
But
exactly, yeah,
nobody knew if they had like 20 boxes a day, 200 a day, 2000, like what the limits were. And I still don't know what the limits were. All I know is that the limits
no,
were enough.
yeah. So I did join that new line, and then Lucas and I had interviews scheduled with Asmodee at like 11. So we kind of looked at the line and we looked at each other and we're like, we're not getting through this in the proper amount of time. So we left.
Yeah.
And then Ravensburger, is that how, did I say
Yeah,
it
you got
right?
it.
Yeah, RB. We're gonna call him RB. They released a tweet. It had to have been early afternoon that day, and they were like, "Hey, come through the line. We have booster boxes." So both my significant other and I went through that line, and we both ended up getting a booster box each. When I tell you that I thought someone was going to like come after me because I had this box in my hand,
Uh
I
huh.
hightailed it back to my room because like there were just angry glares, and I was just like, I will protect this box with my life. Like
Yep.
it was
Yeah.
scary.
No, I saw people walking around like late that day with a Ravensburger bag, and I'm just like, you are brave. All right.
Yeah, you
Huh.
you get that bag and you bring it to your room as long as you can, because like it was a little tense.
Mm-hmm.
Um, so then Friday night, or not Friday night, sorry, Thursday night, they did release a tweet saying that they were gonna do station lines. There were gonna be
Yeah.
stanchions out, starting at 6 p.m. You're welcome to wait in that line until 10 a.m. the next morning, and then you would be walked to the booth. And that was the system that they used for the rest of the weekend. And I will, credit where credit is due. Day two went a lot smoother. I have a
Yes.
picture, but they were down there. The employees of Ravensburger had coffee, they had donuts, they had orange juice, they had water for plenty of people waiting in line. There's a photo of Dunkin' Donuts coffee. They had Dunkin' Donuts. And they were going through and making sure anyone who had blood sugar issues were taken care of with orange juice. They
Good for
were
them.
Ryan Miller, yeah, Ryan Miller, the co-designer, was out there chatting with people and just trying, to like make sure everyone was happy and that they felt more taken care of this day. And I think that really set the tone for the rest of the weekend. And people end up having really positive experiences. If that hadn't happened, I think we would be having a very different conversation now.
Oh yeah.
Um, but luckily, I do think that they saved it, and I think that everyone was excited. As far as I know, I really haven't talked to anyone who said, "Oh, I didn't get product." Like, we waited in line, we got everything that we wanted. I think you got stuff, so
Yep.
I mean,
Yeah, I
yeah,
got everything that I wanted to. I mean,
yeah,
I was kind of quietly hoping to get more than one box, but like, it's
yeah,
one per person. I'll live. It's fine.
right, yeah, yeah. So I am grateful, and I think that obviously they listened. Um, there were rumors that they had talks with Gen Con staff and that there was like a backdoor meeting, like this can't happen again. There were
Mm-hmm.
rumors that the fire marshal got called in. We don't know. It's a dangerous
Oh,
situation.
please.
I wouldn't be
Yes.
shocked if the fire marshal got called, to be honest with
God,
you. But we don't, these are
somebody
all
should have done
rumors.
that at 8 in the morning. Oh my gosh, when
Hmm.
they dispersed the line, somebody should have done it then.
Yeah.
Because they would have
Hmm.
busted that down. They would have said, this can't
Oh,
happen.
absolutely. Yeah.
Oh my
But
gosh.
we know that they got dragged on social media. We in fact did some dragging of our own. I mean, what happened wasn't okay, but I think that they took the criticism and they turned it around the rest of the weekend. And there's really nothing more you can say about that. It's just those are the facts. Um, and I think that they at least handled it fine the rest of the weekend.
Yeah, they saw what went wrong and they fixed it. And then it was fine.
Yeah, yeah,
We're good.
right.
If it had
Yeah,
been like it was
exactly.
Friday, Saturday, and Sunday on Thursday, we wouldn't be having this discussion.
No, I don't think anyone would be supporting the game, to be quite honest with you. I think we'd be like, wow, they need to get their stuff together and I'll support them if they ever change how they're doing their operations. But
No, I meant that the
thankfully,
other. Like if Thursday was a copy of the rest of the week,
oh, yeah,
like
yeah.
there would be no concerns.
No, yeah, yep, that's true. Yeah, then it wouldn't even be an issue at all. It would just be like,
Right.
oh, happy-go-lucky Disney fans.
Yeah.
Me and my Minnie Mouse ears just trying to hold on for dear life through the head.
Oh, I was hearing people next to me, and they're like, "All right, as soon as those doors open, I'm going. You grab my bag, and you don't let go. I will plow people down. You don't let go. If you let go, you're gone."
And I don't, this is not a just keep swimming mentality. Like, let's
Mm-hmm.
not, this is, yeah, let's just all calm
Yeah.
and collected. But,
Yeah.
it is what
The,
it is. It happened. That's history. And that's, there's nothing
yeah.
more you can say about it.
Yeah.
Um, I do want to talk about, I do want to talk about the events that they had there, but I will skip to like another conversation I wanted to have just because I think it ties in really well. The game, so that was technically like pre-release or like an
Right.
early release. So it is coming out officially on August 18th in your friendly local game stores and in the Disney parks.
Mm-hmm.
So what do you think that looks like for a Disney parks release?
Does it come out in the parks on the 18th, or does it come out in the parks on the
Yes.
1st?
No, that is Shop Disney. Shop Disney is the
Ah,
first.
okay, all right,
Yes.
good. So that we get to look forward to that website going down. All right, great.
Yes.
Um,
Yeah, if you already had Disney or issues with Shop Disney before, just you wait
yeah,
because it's not going to get better.
because we have yet to hear anybody confirm or deny that annual pass discounts do or do not apply to these.
Right, yeah.
So if they're selling at MSRP and 10% off for APs, this is going to be gone fast.
Oh, absolutely. So we haven't been told where they're going to be selling it in the parks. We haven't been
Right.
told how they're going to be selling.
Any
Obviously, all
limits?
we can do is speculate. Yeah, any limits. In Gen Con, they were cutting badges. You can't really do that. You're not cutting your annual pass to buy
Yeah.
Lorcana. So
I mean,
I'm
you
not
can
sure
you
how
can
they're
check
gonna-
park admission, like
You could.
like they should be doing with any time they have any sort of limited release in the parks. They could be checking park admission and scanning that into a system and verifying that you have not bought this already today
Yep.
or however long. Like
Right.
this. That was the other thing that was killing me. It's like they were physically cutting the badges at Gen Con. Like
Right.
they were clipping a corner of it.
Mm-hmm.
They had barcodes on them. They had unique barcodes on them. You can scan barcodes. We have this technology. We've had it for decades. What are you doing?
We're in the Stone Ages. My
Uh-huh.
God, Stone Ages.
Ooh.
Yeah. So I think based on, what happened with Gen Con, I'm curious to see what the operation looks like when that gets released in the parks.
Yes.
With any big merchandise release, there's normally a virtual queue, so I'm kind of wondering if that's what's going to happen here. My advice, Disney, if you're listening, is do a virtual queue.
Yes.
Because I already know, I've been watching the Discords. There are people who are out of state who are planning on driving to the parks for this release. They didn't get to go to Gen Con. They're going to go to Disney. So you have to deal with that crowd, and you need to do it in a very efficient way. And you cannot be having mobs happen in a Disney theme park. That does not happen. It does not work.
Yep.
It looks terrible for everyone. So just learn from Gen Con and do a virtual queue. Do something sophisticated and smart, please.
The one thing I will say is that Disney knows how to manage a physical line too. Like, if they do decide to go the physical line route, I don't think it's going to be a train wreck. Because they're also not going to make the obvious mistake of dispersing the line into a mob.
No. The Disney employees will know what they're doing.
Yes. I remember I was in Disneyland for the first night of World of Color.
Wow.
And they, at like 3 or 4 in the morning in the promenade, had a line. And the line didn't even have like stanchions or anything. It was just tape on the ground.
Yeah.
They had taped out a line, and everybody who wanted to be in line to get the fast passes for the first show, because they had the paper fast passes back then. Back in my day. You're dating
yourself right now.
Well, I'm talking about the opening date of an attraction. I've completely dated myself on that one.
This is true.
And so anybody who wanted to be first for those fast passes, you just go line up over here, and when the park opens, we will walk this line slowly to the front of the rope drop, and then when the rope drop happens, we will walk the line slowly over to the turnstiles. And we will have people over at the fast pass turnstiles to turn people away so they don't jump in front of you. Like they knew what they were doing. They had a plan for this. They thought it through, and it worked. I've have every reason to believe that Disney would do similar here.
Right. And I mean, we've seen it work well with even Rise of the Resistance, right? Like virtual queue and physical line at the same time.
Oh, yeah.
We've seen it work.
It's phenomenal when you get to do it that way. It just requires them to set it up.
Exactly.
I just don't know how well their app is going to handle... You said they've done merchandise virtual queues before, though, haven't they?
I'm like 90% sure, and I work for a Disney website, so I should probably be 100% sure about this.
Fair.
But I could have sworn for like 50th anniversary, and like larger merch drops, that we've seen a virtual queue. They do a virtual queue for the Gideon's cookie. You can't tell me they can't figure it out for Lorcana.
Yeah, I'm sure now.
For a cookie.
Yeah. There's no way they don't at this point. You're entirely correct. I have yet to participate in a merch virtual queue, but I'm sure if they've done it before that they would just do it here.
Yeah.
You
can do it for a cookie, Disney. We know you can do it.
The real question I've got is, so Ravensburger was spreading their allocation out over 4 days because that was the entirety of Gen Con. Is Disney going to spread their allocation out over time? And if so, how spread out is it going to be? Is it going to be,
that's a really good point.
we drop this on August 18th, and when we're out, we're out? Is that it?
Right.
Or are we going to have it so that people can show up in the parks and just discover it and get some?
Right.
Is it going to be possibly marked up to the point where none of the resellers want it? Like, if you're selling it like one booster pack at a time, and you're selling it at de facto $300 a box, no one's going to be interested in this.
No.
Like, even with annual pass discounts, that's $270. That's barely enough to justify reselling.
Right. And, like, what does the display look like, right? Like, when we do really big merchandise displays, I mean, we can look at the Halloween one right now. It's got the big, giant display, and all the merchandise is kind of centered right there. Is this going to be like a Numio display where it's just kind of like in a part of the corner? Or is it going to have a giant area, like how much product are we taking up and stuff? So
yeah,
that's what I'm curious to see.
I also want to see what other merch they have, because they have the Ravensburger like sleeves and mats and deck boxes and everything like that. Are they going to have shirts?
Right, yeah.
I don't think it's going to be literally this shirt, but like...
No. I think that's special.
What else are they going to have?
Right, yeah. What do we not know about that they haven't released yet? Because we know that Troves will be sold. Troves weren't sold at Gen Con. So we're already going to be seeing more stuff there. Um, yeah, it'll be interesting. We also don't know where, so I would imagine it's going to be all of like your bigger stores in the parks, whether it's Connections or World of Disney and Disney Springs, Emporium and Magic Kingdom. Um, I guess we'll just have to wait and see.
Yeah.
We're coming up on, a week from there, so it's a week, when we're recording this, it's a week from tomorrow. Who knows when this gets released. Maybe it'll be released when this comes out. I hope not. I hope I'm faster than that. But hopefully sometime within the next few days they communicate that, because I know there are a lot of people looking forward to it and who are trying to plan, park passes. Because that's a thing that we still have to do. Am I going to Magic Kingdom? Am I going to Epcot? I don't know. So, yeah.
I've got a hunch it's going to be every park and Springs.
Yeah. I would hope so. I think that's the smart move.
I think that what Disney wanted to have happen was they wanted to be able to put a couple starter decks in every every major shop throughout the park. So multiple different locations within a park would even have it.
Yeah.
So that somebody could just wander into a shop, see it there, and be like, "Oh, that looks like fun. Maybe we can learn to play this while we're in line or something like that."
Yeah.
Which is the other thing that I really want to see them make is I saw a lot of folks with these like collapsible chairs in line, not like the ones that like fold up, but like that like expand up and then sit tight.
Oh my!
I want to see them make tables like that.
That would
so that you could you set it up in
cute.
line, you pop it up, you sit and you play a game while you're in line.
Could you
or
imagine
if you're camping for a parade, like you just set it up and then you're playing on the parade route.
There's been unexpected downtime. Pull out the table. We're gonna play. I kind of love that. My advice: go to Animal Kingdom. It's always done there. Also, I should mention we've been talking a lot about Disney World, but it's also coming out in Disneyland.
Of course,
you can always get it there too. Yeah, both coasts. I'm just more familiar with Disney World, so it's my go-to.
Yeah. I could imagine it being pretty easy to come by in California Adventure as well. But again, like that line, all three of the lines there are going to like balance themselves out because they're all so close to each other. Like if one of them swamped and the other isn't, people will just move.
Walk, yeah.
Because I'm sure they're also going to have it at like World of Disney there as well.
Right. So. They definitely have a space advantage over Disney World in that respect. If you want to leave from Animal Kingdom and try Epcot, you've got a nice little ride ahead of you. Yeah.
Yeah. Less the blessing of size, more the curse of size for that one.
Right, yeah. But we've talked a lot about Gen Con. They did have two events also there. They had a starter deck challenge and they had a learn to play. Obviously, you taught the learn to play, so I'll let you talk about that. But they kind of announced during the first wave that they weren't going to be holding a lot of competitions. So this was kind of their, I guess, first foray into that for this game. So it was just 3 50-minute rounds and then top 8s, or top 8 winners of that, I should say, got like a special playmat. I don't know if you saw it. I don't have a picture of it, but it's really pretty. It's got like a bunch of different characters on it in a row. It looks really nice. Yeah, we can edit it in because we have that power.
Oh yeah, we can do that. I'm over here trying to pull it up quickly, and we'll find it then.
We'll find it. We'll add it. Because the magic of editing. Insert here. And then I know like the winners got to do a special like tournament for the finals, which was really nice. And I did stop by for a little bit in the morning of that. And a lot of the head designers and artists and kind of higher up people in the company were there, which I thought was really cool. And they were like signing playmats and stuff, so it seemed like everyone was having a great time. And then with that, you got a starter deck, so your tournament fee included that. And now I'm going to let you talk about the learn to plays, because we also got a starter deck for that.
One note about the starter deck challenges, though, that I think is really fascinating, at least to me, is that the starter decks themselves include a booster pack within them.
Yes.
So that you can open it up and like augment your deck. For the longest time, people were theorizing and theory crafting about, okay, which one of the 3 decks do I want to get so that when I open up my pack, like I can take these out, I can put these in if I find them. What's the best thing to do? Because all of the decks are limited to playing only 2 colors of ink. There are 6 different colors of ink in the game, and each deck starts with 2 of them. We found out essentially last minute I found out about this on Wednesday during our training.
Okay.
The rules for that are you could use any card in your booster pack in your deck, ignoring ink color
Oh.
restrictions. So,
Oh.
like last
You could have just
minute
thrown
game
them all
day,
in.
yeah, you could have. So everybody was like last minute scrambling, like, "Oh, what's the best one now? Gosh, we did all the training simulations are
Right.
useless. What do we do? What do we do?"
The nerds are in panic.
And I remember seeing that happen. I'm like, this is the kind of chaos I want to see. Like this
Yes.
is cool.
This is
Um,
okay chaos. Thursday morning chaos, not great. Nerds trying to figure out how to construct their decks in like a tournament that's not really calling for that. We're here
yes,
for it. I'm all about
yes.
it.
It was great to watch everybody panic over this tournament that ended up being like super low stakes because, like you said, it's an exclusive playmat, but it's just a playmat.
Yeah,
And
it
if I
is.
remember right,
Yeah.
the top 8 of the Sunday event was just a signed version of the playmat. So like all the designers
Okay.
and everything got together and signed it,
Okay.
which is
I mean,
really
that's
cool.
nice.
And it's awesome
Yeah.
now that you've got like your signed version and then your
Right.
normal version, which I'm sure the actual prize here is that you have the ability to sell that now. But
I mean, if you'd probably get some good money for it, I'm not gonna lie.
I'm
So,
sure there's like
yeah,
what 64 of them in the wild, I
yeah,
think. So like that's a really
yeah.
collectible thing.
It is, yeah, and people love collectible things,
Yeah.
as we can see. I mean, I've got a giant pinboard behind me. I have no one to talk. Um, so go ahead and talk about the learn play because you got to
Yes.
facilitate that and teach it.
Yeah.
So,
So this was an absolute blast. I'll be honest.
mm,
I've never done like learn to play event styles like this before. I've always seen them with Magic, but I've never
mm,
actually participated. This was
mm,
an absolute blast to do. I'm sure some of it is due to the fact that like everybody here was a Gen Con attendee, so they
yeah,
had some games literacy to begin with.
yeah,
But it was an absolutely phenomenal time. So the way it worked was we had our own little side room that was just for Lorcana Learn to Play, and we had everything set up in there. So it was you had one staff member for every 4 players. So you had like 2 people playing on your right, 2 people playing on your left, and then one staff member in the middle.
mm,
And we would just sit down and for an hour be like, this is how to play, this is how the rules work. Go ahead and like play a full game through with the other person you're here with.
mm,
And we're here to like answer questions, help sort stuff out if you get confused, anything like that. And folks picked this up so quick.
oh,
And that was like I already shared the story earlier about the mom and her son,
yeah.
but consistently across the board, for the folks that didn't know how to play coming in, they would sit down and be like, "Oh, all right, this just makes sense."
That's really good. That says a lot about, I think, how well designed it is then, and
Mm-hmm.
the attention and thought and detail put behind it.
Yeah, this is designed to be an introduction to trading card games for folks who may
Yeah.
not have ever played one before. It's
Hmm.
it's not like oh like Flesh and Blood is another trading card game that came out recently, and my understanding of that was you essentially need to know Magic as a prerequisite almost, or at least some
Okay.
other trading card game,
Hmm.
because the intricacies and complexities of the game were designed for people who enjoy that kind of crunchy uh, game where
Right.
there's a lot of mechanics, a lot of interaction, a lot of rules, a lot of ability to do things during your opponent's turn, that kind of
Hmm.
thing. Fair warning, I don't play Flesh and Blood, so if I just said a bunch of things that are wrong, sorry. Um, but
Well, what
that
you
that's
said
definitely
just,
geared at the Magic crowd. Like that,
yeah,
at a minimum, that's how it was marketed. Was what if
right,
Magic, but different and run by a different
yeah,
company, and we are 100% having a competitive scene from day one.
right,
This is what if trading card game, but not super intense, super crunchy. If I remember right, Ryan Miller, one of the head designers, used to work on Hearthstone.
yeah. Which it has a Hearthstone vibe to
It
it
does.
in the accessibility.
Yes, a lot of that comes through because one of the core tenets of Hearthstone's design was that you don't do anything during your opponent's turn.
Right.
And you see that in Lorcana too, at a minimum for now. Like, people were asking me, do we have instance yet? And I was like, well, not yet. We haven't said never, but we have said not now. And I have a hunch that it's going to be introduced later where you can do stuff during your opponent's turn, but we want to start off in this realm of simple, straightforward things and add complexity over time so that everybody can get into the game, learn the game, get used to it, and then we add more things as they go.
Which also goes with like how they're trying to build the narrative or like the lore of the game, where like we're, just at chapter 1, they haven't announced totally what the narrative is yet. They did release a teaser video that you can see on the site, WDWNT.com. Just check us out, search Lorcana, you can see all the articles there. But they released, I think it was like a minute-long video, and it was very cute. The animation was really well done. It's kind of like stop-motion-y.
It felt very comic book style.
Which I suspect that there could be a comic book in the works based on like some tweets and stuff that they've had, which would totally fit in this realm. So it would make sense that, our story is going to build over time as the game increases in complexity over time. And they'll have the ability to maybe bring in like places and locations that might do something in the game. Because right now we only have items and songs, actions, and characters. We don't have places. There are how many iconic Disney, worlds in the world. So maybe we'll see those kind of come in later on as like another element that they could have, and that would kind of tie in with the story. And I think what they're doing is really, really smart. It's going to keep people engaged in the game. It's going to keep them engaged in the lore. They have very clearly thought about this, and it's smart. It really is. Yeah.
And then coming back around just to finish off with the learn to play. If you folks out there are interested in learning how to play, we have a video up on the site of Alicia and I sat down at Gen Con, and essentially I did the learn to play spiel that I was doing all weekend with Alicia, just sitting and playing across from her. So head over to, I'm sure we've got a link down in the description or something along those lines. So
we will have a link, but it was really fun. That was like my first time. I had played on Pixelborn like a couple of rounds, but that was like my first time like with the cards, and it was such a cool feeling to like have them and be able to shuffle. I will say that the deck that I played, now that we're not filming, was not my favorite deck, and I think I said that immediately after we cut, and I was just like, oh, this deck is not great, and it's not great for my playstyle. But since then, just to redeem myself a little bit, every game that I've played with the Amber Amethyst, I have won with. So I think it was just the playstyle of the deck and I did not connect with. But other than that, I am doing fine.
Yeah, what if I remember right, you were on, Ruby Emerald, Red Green?
It was
in the demo video?
Steel Sapphire.
Steel Sapphire. Oh, okay. So blue-gray.
So very control-y. Yeah.
Very
control-y.
Yeah, you drew the control side of the deck, and that's supposed to be a ramp deck. That's supposed to get more ink in play quickly, and you just weren't really finding much of that.
No. And to be fair, like, a peek behind the curtain, sometimes we do things to make the video look better. So, like, I didn't need to shift in the video, but it looks better in the video if you shift, because then you're teaching people how to do it. So... Yeah.
I was thoroughly stunned that the decks cooperated the way they did, because we managed to draw like all of the cards that we needed to find in order to play like every mechanic in the game for the video, which was so phenomenal. Like we could not have stacked the decks better. It was great.
So if you have any questions about how interactions work or specific mechanics, go watch that video, because like maybe you didn't know how ward works or something, and we kind of were able to go into all of it, which was really cool.
Yeah. And if you still got questions, like hit me up on Twitter. I'm happy to answer rules questions, and just shoot me a message at me, whatever.
Yes.
Like I am not going to say I am the world's foremost expert, because that would be incredibly presumptuous. But I was one of, like, I guess maybe 20 or so, I think, folks that were in that learn to play group, the folks actually working on either the tournament or the learn to play stuff. And we essentially got to sit down with Ryan Miller and ask all of the rules interactions questions that we didn't know the answer to, and get the answer from the head designer.
That's kind of the best
really
place to
cool
get
process.
them from.
Yeah, right? It's like you're just
Like
sitting
if
there
you
with the
have a
rules manager, and it's like,
question,
hey, how do I help? How does this work?
yeah, that's the best place. And I know that they've said like a comprehensive rules document will be coming out at some point. Who knows?
Yeah,
Maybe that's with set two. Again, we are still like it's fun to talk about and be like, oh, like we played the game so much, but the game is still technically in pre-release, so like it's
yep,
okay that this stuff hasn't come out yet,
right,
because it's not officially out yet. We're lucky enough to get our hands on cards and work with them a little bit and kind of get to absorb all of this knowledge like a giant sponge.
yep.
And then it allows us to do podcasts like this, which is super great. Um, so I think it's safe to say, but overall impressions of the game, how are you liking it?
I think it's pretty great.
Yeah,
There are a couple like weak spots here and there, but overall I think that it's a good thing. I think it's going to see a lot of play. I've seen friends of mine go from not knowing how to play the game to DMing me deck lists they made up,
that's
which
funny.
over the span of like a week. And I'm
That's
like,
really funny.
all right, this has some staying power. Okay, cool.
You've created a problem, and now you're gonna have to play games with them all the
Hey, I'm
time.
fine with that.
Yeah,
Like the big strengths are like I said, like it's so easy to pick up.
yeah,
Games are fast. I think it's
they are.
once you know what you're doing and how to play, a game takes maybe 10-15 minutes usually.
Yeah.
I play a lot of Marvel Snap, so 3 minute game there. Like having quick iteration time in game is great for me.
Right.
The biggest things that I've been concerned with is the one that everybody keeps talking about is the lack of interaction.
Yeah.
You can't do
And it's
anything
a
during your
fair
opponent's
concern.
turn. Yeah, it is. Like I'm not trying to belittle
Yeah.
it in any way.
No, no.
It is something that a lot of card game players look for in a game is the ability
Hmm.
to interact with your opponent's stuff. Like how do I stop them from winning in the middle of them winning? How do I protect my own things?
Exactly.
And it's a little bit slow. There's the removal is a little light. There's only really one
Hmm.
color that has the ability to directly remove an opponent's creature. Everything else is either damage based or combat based.
Right.
And I think it is a complete game and a playable game in its current state. But I think that
Yeah.
once we get a couple more sets out there, it's gonna really get some legs and start going.
I think so too. And I mean, not to say that this is what happens with every, card game or whatever, but like the first set is always like dipping your toe into the water. How do people react? What can we tweak in the future? What do they want to see? What do they not like? What do we need to do erratas on?
Mm-hmm.
That's just kind of the nature of games like these, because they are essentially like a living, breathing thing. And by
Yes.
set eight, the game's gonna look completely different than it does in set one. That's just how these games go.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm really, really excited to see where it goes. I'm excited, hopefully set two at the very late, or at the earliest set two, at the latest, set four. I would say they have to
I
have
think
those
so. Yeah.
interactions, or you're going to lose your fan base. They do have the nice thing they've talked about this, but like I think it's every 3 or 4 months a new set's going to be coming out. So
Yep.
we've got pretty quick turnaround time, which will keep the game fresh. Whether or not they keep up with that in the future, like I know they said they were working on set eight,
Yep.
which is like what that's like almost like a year from now, basically. So
I think it's
these
closer to
designers are,
two. Yeah.
yeah, so like at what pace can you keep this up at, and like how once start people start playing and you go back and start editing, like set
Mm-hmm.
six or something and you're trying to make set 12. We'll see how that design process kind of starts to change, but I
Yeah.
think there's been a lot of really thoughtful intention with making this game. It can tell us that they've play tested. Obviously we've talked about the art. It's beautiful and I think that's gonna help drag a lot of Disney fans into it. But personally I really like the game. I absolutely like. I've been dreaming of this moment. I can't wait to bring it to Disneyland to my trip during like Oogie Boogie and just like playing during dinner or something. And I've had interactions with people on Discord who are like, "I want to bring my card and get like this character to sign the sleeve
Yes.
and have them hold it up." That's
Mm-hmm.
going to make the cutest Instagram picture ever. Like they are thinking about this, and I'm sure that the characters are gonna start to get into it too and be like, oh, I'm Rapunzel, but that's Floodborn Rapunzel or Dreamborn. Like, they're different than me, but this is still cool. And I love that. And I can't wait to see how it works out.
Yeah. I I have the fantasy of playing a deck that has been fully signed by the characters. Like
That's
I
awesome.
I really like the idea of like just every single card all the way through because
That would
that's
be
something that I know people
cool.
try and do with the artists for cards in Magic the Gathering,
Yeah.
which is achievable but monumentally difficult at
I was gonna
times.
say it's really hard to do.
This
Like
is
super hard.
very this ranges from pretty easy to maybe a little challenging for some of the more niche
Yeah.
characters, but
Yeah.
achievable. Like you know
Treasure
where they'll be and
Planet.
can go hunt them down.
Yeah,
Yeah, that's
Treasure
gonna be
Planet.
hard.
Look on like a 90s nostalgia night at Disneyland, fly out there, and hopefully they're there or something, like, but that's going to be like the hardest one. Obviously, Frozen, Anna and Elsa are always at
Oh yeah,
Epcot.
yeah,
Olaf, that you can meet the animatronic and have the handler sign the card or something. Like, there are workarounds for these
yes, yes,
things.
yes.
So, yeah. No, I think it's really fun. I'm excited to see where it goes. And, like, I do really enjoy the game. I've played every day since we've come home. I know that my significant other has been editing the decks since we came home. We have been sleeving. We have been organizing cards.
Yes.
We have been opening packs. Like this is a very big thing in my home right now, and I don't see it stopping anytime soon, which is fine because I get to add to my collection. And now I have someone else bugging me when we can go to Disney and play, so
There you
I'm fine
go.
with that. Thanks, Lorcana. You're just helping me get someone
Nice.
down to Disney. Yeah.
Yeah. Have you tried playing multiplayer yet?
We have not.
Okay,
I know that they released rules for it. Have you tried?
I have. I actually
And
tried that in the airport on the way back. Uh,
how'd it go?
it is fine. It is
Okay.
distinctly fine.
Okay.
It is not the greatest experience. I think that 1v1 is better. I think if you've got four
Okay.
people that all want to play, it's better to have two games than just put everybody together in one.
Okay.
But it does work, and
Okay.
everybody does get kind of a feel of what's going on. The real problem is that challenging your opponent's characters is a lot harder, or
Okay.
a lot less good, I should say. It's not like it's more
Hmm.
difficult, but because when in a 1v1 game, if you remove your opponent's ability to generate lore, uh, that directly means that the game will go longer, and you can, like, next turn go questing with that character to gain that lore back. Whereas in a
Right.
multiplayer game, if I attack your character and then you attack their character and they attack me, like,
Hmm.
we've all just kind of taken time off to get rid of each other's stuff. But
Hmm.
it doesn't have to happen that way. What ends up
Okay.
happening a lot of the time is that player A says, "Oh, player C is a problem, but I know that player B has enough resources to deal with them, so I'm gonna
Oh.
not bother. Pass turn. Player
Hmm.
B either go deal with player C or they win the game this turn."
Okay.
And so
Gotcha.
you put somebody in this position where you force them to do your dirty work for you while you just sit over here in the
Hmm.
corner and quest.
You know what's kind of funny, and I don't know, maybe I'm just making the connection because it's another Ravensburger product, but that sounds like a villainous game. A
Ooh,
hundred percent.
okay, I haven't played that
Yeah.
yet.
I do highly recommend it. So I normally play with 3 to 4 people. 4 people I think is the sweet spot. And what's interesting about the game is everyone has a unique goal, but you kind of do check-ins along the way. The game doesn't say to, but obviously when you're playing the game, you're like, how close are you? Like, I need to know for my own purposes, do I need to stop you now or not? And you kind of gauge and you're like, okay, they're really close, but I'm also really close. But this person sitting next to me sees that they're close, so I'll have them deal with them. Or I'll lie to my friend and be like, let's go after them together. They go before me, they deal with it, and then I go on my own and try and win.
Mm-hmm.
That's how you play board games, right? Like, you're
Yep.
always messing with your friends. That's the best element of it, in my opinion. Um, but that is interesting to kind of see how they are doing similar interactions. And I just, maybe it's because it is the same company who's making it that I'm making that connection, but it sounds incredibly similar.
Yeah. I would not put it past them to be like, oh, let's make that work here.
Yeah. And
And
it's an
I
interaction people are already familiar with.
Yeah, I am very glad that they thought about multiplayer though, because
Yeah.
something that Magic the Gathering had as a real problem for a while is that they would refer to, like, just one opponent on cards.
Oh.
Like it would always say, like, target opponent does this, target opponent does that.
Mm.
They've started leaning more toward, not always but often, having things affect each opponent instead.
Gotcha.
Because that just makes the card smoother in multiplayer. It's less, I need to go hate this person because they're winning, and just, I'm going to do a thing that's good for me and bad for everyone else, which just works a lot more smoothly.
Yeah. We did talk about doing a sealed draft, and I had a couple of my friends be like, can we please do it? And I was like, for 4 people, that means that you're opening like half of my booster box, and that's not okay. I want to be the one to open those packs. I'm still searching for my enchanted. I've opened 2 boxes so far. I have 1 more, and I'm praying to any deity out there who will listen that I have an enchanted, because I really want one.
Yeah. Meanwhile, I'm in the other camp. Like I've got a combined 3 boxes between me and everybody that I went with, and also the fact that Ravensburger did give us a box for working that weekend. In addition to like being paid, like we worked, we got paid, but they also, as a bonus gift, after the weekend was done, said, "Here, you can have this." And so they gave us that and a little bit of extra stuff as well on top. Including a really neat puzzle from there. What was that?
Oh, that's cool. Did they pay for your badge?
Yes. Yeah. If you work for anybody at Gen Con, they pay. There's a system for getting your badge compensated, like as like a handshake between like Gen Con and the vendor themselves. Like I'm not sure how much the vendor pays per person, but I assume it's near nothing. Like Gen Con's mindset, as I understood it, was that this is good for Gen Con to have more people working. So if you want to come here and work, by all means, just go do your thing, and then when you're done, enjoy what you can of what's left.
Honestly, volunteers is what makes Gen Con run as well as it does. Like, they really do, and it sounds like Ravensburger as well took really good care of their employees. So I'm really glad to hear that. So it really was just Thursday that was a bad day.
Yeah,
I think everything else they really did okay.
Yeah.
They took care of you guys. They took care of people in line. So yeah,
like
that's awesome.
there was a lot of caring and compassion from these folks, which also gives me a lot of hope for the future of the game. I think that it's going to be all right. Like I feel like
we're gonna be okay. We're gonna be okay, kids.
I feel like I might look back on this podcast in a year and look like the person on the Titanic going, "It's fine, don't worry about it. It's just a little leak." But at the same time, like I'm also really hoping that we've learned our lesson here. Because they turned everything around going into Friday. They recovered gracefully. They made it clear by like essentially they came out and apologized to the community by sending Ryan Miller out with donuts.
They're quite literally just sticking him on a platter and are like, "Here," like.
I read that as a direct apology, and that's
100%.
I think they're not going to make the same mistake twice, and I think that is going to apply to everything in the game. I think you're gonna have that problem that Magic has where they can't like rectify a situation quickly because their production pipeline is so far in advance. Like problem cards in Magic, when they get discovered, they don't have the ability to print cards to deal with them for, I think it's at least a year. Like if they rushed, they could sneak one into a set that's 1 year out, just because that's the lead times on printers. So if there's anything that shows up that's problematic that needs like a card to answer it, they're going to have a bit of a weight on their hands. But also we don't know what kind of like banning or restricting Ravensburger's going to do with this game, which granted at the moment I don't think anything needs it. I'm not sitting here like, oh, this needs to get
banned. We only have a card pool. It's like 200 cards or whatever. We got a pretty small card pool at the moment, so if your Maui, 8-cost Maui is a problem, just take them out of your deck.
Like I feel like for a long time here, because there's no like competitive Lorcana, the big thing is going to be I believe it's called Rule 0 among EDH players in Magic, of sit down and have a discussion about how powerful your deck is at the start of the game. Like, if somebody has a starter deck and somebody has a custom 60-card list that they just took to a tournament and top-8'd with, maybe you shouldn't be playing each other with those decks. or at least if
Right,
you are,
yeah.
know that that's what you're getting in for at the
Yeah.
start.
Turn it into a learning experience, if anything,
Yes,
Yeah.
like
No, I agree with that.
this seems like the kind of community that's going to have fun with the game and not try and
Yeah.
be cutthroat garbage.
Yeah.
Because
I
I'll be
wanted
honest, like I love competitive Magic. It's an absolute blast. But that's not what you need when you're starting a game up like this. This
Right.
is this is something geared at families. This is something geared at having a fun
Mhm.
time. This is not
Yeah.
supposed to be I'm gonna win the game. Rar.
Right. And I want to, just as we're ending this, but I do want to say, like, everyone that I have met in this community has been so freaking nice. They are just
Yeah.
excited about the game. All they want to do is talk about it or talk about their love of Disney or other card games, and it's been really refreshing because I've played in some pretty toxic communities before. And the Game of Thrones card game got toxic. The Final Fantasy
Oh.
community can get toxic. Like,
Hmm.
these everyone, it's just happy Disney fans, and
Yeah.
I love knowing that I can show up to a tournament either in cosplay or wearing mini ears and no one will judge me. Like, thank you.
Hmm.
This is my people and I'm so excited for the future.
Yeah. I really look
Oh,
forward to what I would love to see something like the WDWNT Lorcana Open. Like
yeah,
I want to
and I
see it
mean,
happen.
we've talked about it. We have a beautiful studio space in Orlando, right in Celebration. Like, we have the resources to make it happen. So never say never. I know Lucas and I have had a couple of conversations about that. So
Yeah.
also, I'm really excited to watch Tom learn to play this game. I
Yes.
think that's going to be hilarious. So stay tuned because we are going to teach him, and I don't think it's going to go well. So as easy as this game is, I feel like he's gonna be like,
Oh.
"Why is my flounder not working?" or something. Like, we
I
might
honestly
find the
don't know.
person.
I
It's easy to teach, so maybe he'll be okay. But
like that's what I'm thinking. It's like there were people who were coming in and I would ask at the start of every learn to play. It's like, okay, what experience do you have with other trading card games? And there would be people who would
yeah,
say none. I have no idea what the game is. I have no idea what any of this is. All I know is that I have an annual pass and I would love to be able to play something like this. I'm like, cool,
oh,
let's go.
okay. We just need to fly you down to teach him. You can do
Yeah.
it. News tonight bit. We found it.
Oh boy.
um, yeah. So
We'll
I
run
want
long
to
that night.
end.
No, I'm kidding.
I want to end every podcast on a positive note, and so I thought what a really fun thing that we could do is every time we could each share a card that we want to talk about, whether it be why you like it or why you dislike it. Maybe you like it because of the art, maybe you like the ability. So what card have you brought today to talk about, Ben?
So I have brought cooperate, please. Hang on. So mine is going to be what I think is the most expensive card in the game at this point. Not like
He's
money
going
wise, but cost wise.
expensive.
No, I have no idea what the cost of this is, like in dollars. Like this is got the D23 Expo marker on it, but with
Ooh, yeah.
every card in the game, they've promised like if they make a promo print of it, there's going to be a normal print too. So
Yeah.
it's not like you're never ever going to have to be like, oh, if you want to play this card, you had to be a D23. It's like no.
Right. And I
But
love that because they know that Disney collectors are crazy. So this kind of helps
right,
even out the market a little
yeah.
bit. Yeah.
So Maleficent Monstrous Dragon is a 9 cost, 7 attack, 5 defense character that is a storyborn villain dragon. Which dragons are great. I
Dragon.
love them. But then we've also got just as an ability Dragonfire. When you play this character, you may banish chosen opposing character. Which
Oh,
I love it. Direct
yeah.
removal is great. Being able to remove your opponent's thing while playing a thing of your own that's got a decent stat block and also quests for 2 lore.
Yeah.
It costs a lot, so you got to work to get there. But
Yeah.
the value in this card is just so great. Like I really want to build a Sapphire Ruby deck based around getting ink out faster than you're supposed to, and then playing this ahead of time and just taking over the game.
That would be really cool. Yeah, 2 lore 7/5. I mean, that's like a very, very good card. And it's really nice to see Maleficent not on fire in Phantasmic. Love that. Every time I see it now, that's all I go to.
Oh, I want to get an alternate version of this now with everything on fire on the. Oh man, that's great.
No, I think that's a really good card. It'll be interesting. So, storyboard and villain are obviously kind of common keywords. It'll be interesting to see dragon later on. I'm trying to think of how many dragons we have in
Pete's dragon
Disney
comes to mind
lore.
immediately. Mushu is a dragon.
Oh yeah, Mushu.
Like I'm sure there's more. Raya.
Oh yeah.
Like there, I don't think like. The term in Magic is I believe tribal. Like when you have a bunch of characters all with the same type on them. I don't think dragon tribal is going to be a thing, but at the same time, like I just enjoy it existing as a type.
Yeah.
I strongly suspect that there will be a prince at some point that when it comes in, you may banish chosen opposing dragon, which just makes sense.
Oh yeah, I mean this card is huge, so I mean as long as you get out, you're gonna have to find some way to deal with it.
Yeah, like we've already got a Moana that banishes Tefiti if Tefiti's in play.
Yes. Yeah. I thought that was pretty cool.
Yeah.
No, this is a really good card. Really strong pick for first episode. Man, you're gonna have to follow this up on the next one with something that's not nearly as cool.
I wasn't thinking about this. Oh no.
You can just pick like really cool art next time and be like, oh,
oh yeah, sure.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah, easy.
How about you? What'd you pick?
Well, yeah, so for mine I picked Moana. If we want to there it is. That is Amber, I believe is the color. So she is Storyborn, Hero Princess. She's 1/6 for 5 cost, 3 lore. But my favorite thing is the ability. So whenever this character quests, you may ready other princess characters that can't quest for the rest of this turn. I love Disney princesses just in the lore. I obviously grew up as a little girl watching them, always wanted to be one. Tangled is like my favorite movie, and seeing all the princesses in this game, because there are a lot, I automatically wanted to make a princess deck, and let's be real, Moana is like the leader of that deck, right? Like she's going to ready all of your princess characters like that. You could go ahead and quest with all of them, play her, and then or quest with her and then bring them all back up and then do your attacks and she
or just don't attack and leave all of your princesses ready and unable to be attacked themselves. Like
absolutely,
you've left yourself like where they have to go through Moana first if they're going to go through anyone.
Yes, and she's got 6 health, so she's got a little bit of a shield there. And then if you play, someone with a shield or something, or just play what is it, the one to like remove damage. I mean, you can kind of keep her around for a while.
The Dinglehopper,
The Dinglehopper, which goes so well with the princesses anyway. Like, it belongs in that deck. So, that's my pick. I think it's awesome. I think the art's great on it, too. 3 lore, you can't do much better than that. So, she will be the leader of my princesses. I will build with that deck. Maybe next time we'll talk about how it goes.
I really am excited to see them like use cards like this to put. I'll correct myself. It's typal, princess typal decks, because we're trying to avoid the other word a bit. And so seeing a princess typal deck be a thing that they are supporting from day one is, I'm sure, something that they talk to Disney marketing about. And they're like, yes, this will go very well. But also, like, I'm just glad to see that they're like not afraid to do things like that. Where it's like, I'm going to reference the fact that there are other princesses. We're going to have all the princesses work together. We could have all the knights work together. We could have all of the everything. Like I am waiting for them to break into Pixar land and we could have a toy typal deck or a bug typal deck.
We have the Musketeers, right? With,
we've got them.
Donald and Mickey. Yeah. Yep. So it's there.
They've got places to go and things they can do, and I'm looking forward to seeing where they go with it for sure.
Yeah. Me and this Moana deck are going to go the Polynesian, We're gonna
There
drink
you
a Lapu
go.
Lapu and we're gonna play a game of Lorcana.
Nice.
That's my goal right there, right? Like that's like ultimate. Like just sit inside the poly, have some Dole Whip or drink a Lapu and just like play Lorcana.
There
That's
you
like
go.
ideal end of Disney day right there.
Yeah, go get yourself a good spot for the fireworks on the beach and just sit
Yes.
there and be playing this while you're waiting.
And they take up no room. These can fit in my lounge play bag,
Oh
my two
yeah.
deck boxes.
Mm-hmm.
Easy. Easy. Yep. Awesome. Well, thank you so much. This is episode 1. We did it.
We
We
did
made it
it.
to the end. We did
Yay!
it. Um, if you like this video, please comment, subscribe, give us the thumbs up. I know it's annoying and you hear it in every video that you watch, but it truly does help us. It lets us know that you like the content. It
Mm-hmm.
lets us know that you want more, or maybe we can tailor, what our conversation will be next time based on what the comments are below.
Yeah, go ahead and leave us
So
a comment if you don't have a better idea. Leave us a comment of what your favorite card in the set is so far.
yeah,
Like
yeah, that would be super
either
fun.
something that's done some good work for you or just art that you love.
Yeah,
What something you're looking forward to play. I'd love to
yeah.
get like a little like straw poll of like what the folks in our community are like really looking forward to with this.
Oh, I love that idea. Yeah, do that. Do everything he just said. Um, and we're gonna try and record once a month. No strict timetable. We just kind of want to go with the flow with news and watch as this game gets released, and that'll give us more to talk about. If you're a content creator and you want to collab, hit us up. We're not shy, or no, we're not scary. And let's just have some fun with it. We're real excited about this game. We just want to talk about it.
Yeah.
So I'm Alicia. This has been the Illuminary Library, and we'll see y'all next time.
Bye, folks.